This summer, thousands of fast food workers in the United States went on strike in cities across the country, demanding their wages be increased to $15 per hour. They also wanted the opportunity to unionize. Now, to no one's surprise, they didn't get it. But as we just talked about the retail industry, there are more people making low wages in the U.S. than ever before. What will happen if this trend continues? Let's have a look and talk it out.
18-year-old Corey Prescott is a sole provider for his family. He worked at Wendy's for 6 months for $7.25 an hour, not enough to pay a $1,200 mortgage.
Working there, man, is tiring. It's a headache, basically. Like, managers always yelling at you, not doing their work, but yet want you to work. It's crazy working there, man.
Today, he joined hundreds of fast food workers in more than 100 cities. All of them walked off the job and demanded to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour.
Yes, it's tough because I don't get help from the government at all. I don't get no form of assistance, so it's tough.
Nationwide, these 6 states initiated efforts to increase the wage. New Jersey will increase to $8.25 an hour. Washington has the highest wage than any state in the U.S. at $9.19 an hour. And New York plans to raise the minimum to $9 an hour by 2015.
It's definitely not enough.
Councilman of Brooklyn Jumaane Williams says the wage battle demonstrates inequality in the U.S.
There are people making billions of dollars while people can't subsist. And so we just have to balance that out. And that's what this is about.
60% of low-wage workers are on food assistance, so despite the growing attention, these hardworking Americans face an uphill battle.
And Don Mazzella stick around to talk more, and we are also joined by political psychologist Dr. Bart Rossi. Thanks for being here, Dr. Bart.
Nice to be here.
Okay, now we've talked about this before and we've discussed this before, but I want to talk about something right now. The U.S. as compared to some other countries. The federal minimum wage, $7.25 an hour, is low compared to with other industrialized nations. France is $13, $10 in Britain and Canada, and Australia is $15 an hour. And I want to bring that, it's an interesting point when we talk about Australia. They have an unemployment rate of 5.7%, and they also completely avoided, of all these countries, the recession. So is $15 an hour the reason why? Let's talk about that. Don, we'll start with you.
Oh, thank you. Interesting you brought that up. Australia survived the recession because of their reliance on
China.
On China and raw materials, et cetera, and the Australian emphasis on self-sufficiency. And we're talking about a totally different...
I understand that, but I still want to address that they do pay $15 per hour.
Australian dollars?
Yes.
Okay.
But with the currency exchange?
It works for them. They're a smaller country. I don't think it will work here in the United States for several reasons.
Let's talk about why.
Okay, several reasons. One is every time you raise the minimum wage, if the economists that I read are correct, you're disenfranchising a certain level of a certain percentage of the lower level. So you're shaking the head.
No. Go
okay. At some point, you're going to price it out of the marketplace. Two, you're forgetting that most franchisees are individually owned franchises, and people have invested a great deal of money to do that. And you're asking them to say to take the model that worked and now add, in effect, almost double the wages. Well, if you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to have less employees, the remaining employees doing more. You're going to have higher prices.
Well, let's talk about that. We've talked about that, Dr. Bart, before. Workers were asking for almost a double an increase, and that might have been too much. But what are your thoughts about increasing?
Well, I like what the one protester said. He used the word balance. There needs to be a balance in this whole thing. I mean, what bothers me is that when the wages are so low and people qualify for food stamps, then all of us are paying for the food stamps that go to people, while Walmart or McDonald's are making billions of dollars. So we're actually subsidizing companies that are making billions. It just doesn't work out. I think that the number has to come up, and it has to be what works in that particular country. If it's $15 in Australia, it's probably not $7 or $8 here. It's probably maybe 12 or 13, whatever it's got to be. It has to be so people make a decent wage. It has to be.
Well, why don't you get a decent job? I mean, look, if you want an entry position, that is what the number should be. $15, $20 an hour, that absolutely is a job killer because these businesses can't afford it. So guess what? We lose jobs. And as far as subsidizing, you know what? We shouldn't reward bad behavior. If you're going to be, it's a license to be lazy, basically. I'm sorry, but you should not get $15 or $20 an hour to flip a burger. No way.
But Didi, you have companies making billions of dollars.
That's not.
I'm not opposed to the. I'm not opposed to companies making billions
and then they provide
or
jobs.
free enterprise. But when someone's working full time and they still qualify for food stamps, and the company's making billions of dollars,
well, then why don't you work harder and move up in a company with management, which happens in
I don't think getting another job.
It happens all the time.
What about, I mean, obviously we have Obamacare, but 95% of the low-income minimum wage workers do not have any kind of health care whatsoever. So again, it comes back to your point, Dr. Bart, of subsidizing. So what can be offered to some of these workers to help them? I mean, if they're not going to get more money.
Yeah, if it was a number that, and maybe health care benefits or something was chipped in by these companies so that people could be above that poverty line and would not qualify for food stamps, so we don't have to pay for them, that would be a better route.
Here's another question. What happens if the trend continues and we see more low-income minimum wage workers? Don?
Well, for one thing, the Obamacare takes, if you look at how it works, subsidizes the health care, so now they can do it. But if you raise the minimum wage, the number of employees are clear, and every time it happens, economists show it, you have a certain number lost. But I'd like to bring up.
I disagree with that. I have to say I don't see that happening.
I only go by what the economists.
History doesn't tell us that.
Well, the economists do.
No, they don't.
But let me just bring a point in. I saw this in Reader's Digest the other day. A woman, a teacher, every time she fails somebody, attaches a application for Wendy's, employment opportunity, to indicate if you're not smart enough to get an education, you're going to be forced to work at a Wendy's.
Well, I bet Wendy's loves that.
Well, it's Wendy's. But the other thing is, what you're forgetting is 25% of all workers in franchises are college or mostly high school students. And I'd like to, I was in Minneapolis over Thanksgiving, and I was in a Dairy Queen, and these two young kids were running this Dairy Queen by themselves. There was a junior and a senior in high school. And these two kids, I watched them for 2 hours run this entire place.
That's a lot of ice cream.
Ice cream and food. But they were learning how to be, I walked up to them at the end of it and I said, you're going to be successful in life. Because no matter what happened, a woman came in with 7 crying kids, and these kids just did their job.
That's wonderful for those 2 kids. Right. That's a great story. But I wanted to also talk about, what if we have a continuing trend to seeing more low-income and minimum wage workers? I mean,
that is the question. That is exactly the right question, because then there's going to be a bigger problem. There's going to be more people with low wages who need something else.
Do you want to turn into France? I don't want to turn into France. You know, they're not even allowed to work more than 30 hours a week.
Australia, they're doing pretty well.
Well, good for Australia. But I don't think, we're a capitalist country. And we should reward good behavior and hard work and perseverance instead of just wanting to hang out and make more money for doing less work.
So the people who are working 40 hours a week at Walmart, they're not working hard?
No, obviously. Well, if they want to make more money, they can move up in management and still saying, hey, give me more money for not doing any more work. That's not right. And it's not fair to people who work their tails off in businesses and they get almost no money. They make almost no money, small business people. But you know why? Because they put it away and they work and work and work so other people can have jobs. And it's not fair for people who are lazy, who are not going to work harder and they want more money. It's not fair and it's not right.
I don't want their money. You move up into management.
That's right.
And the thing about most of these franchises is they get their management from
That,
Well,
The
let's
people-
just say
absolutely.
one last final thought. Walmart, Target, and McDonald's, three corporations that pay the least amount profits have all been up in the last year.
Exactly my point.
Well, what's wrong with that?
There's
nothing wrong with that.
We shouldn't be giving
That's
food.
probably why they're successful, is because they keep their wages where they can have success and provide
there's
jobs.
not enough middle management positions
Okay,
to support that.
I would love to continue to debate this, and obviously this is a hot button issue because no one is wanting to let this one go, but we're going to have to. We will be right back with a lightning round where we will talk about a past job of the Pope's and a new job for the Toronto mayor. Don't go away.